Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.
Are we live? I can't see that far.
Yeah.
All right, so it is 8:31. So we are going to wait just a couple minutes to let some of the people jump on that are joining live. But for those of you who are catching the replay, thanks so much for clicking and watching. The boys have some pretty exciting things to share with you all tonight. So, oh look, your dad's on too. He's gonna get his learn on again. So why don't you guys want to introduce yourselves for the people that weren't able to catch the first video that you guys did, so they know who you are?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, my name's Isaiah and I'm 11 years old.
And I'm Nelson and I'm 16.
You're in what grade?
Oh, I'm in 6th grade.
And I'm in 11th grade.
All right, awesome. So first time middle schooler, and tons and tons of homework for both of them. They're in a pretty rigorous school, right? Tons of homework and heavy duty assignments and everything.
Lots of love.
So studying is huge here in this house, and focus is important, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you that didn't catch the last video that they did, they taught on the top 10 essential oils and how they use them, and what they think about it, and gave some tips and everything on that. So it's nice to be able to see the, your child's perspective on the oils. It was really eye-opening for me too. There was some questions that I, put them through. We don't go over the oils before the actual class, so I'm not sure what is going to happen, as we go through and ask the questions, but we want to open this up too for you all to ask and do a little Q&A at the end. So if you're interested in asking them anything specific after they do their part, then that'll be exciting to see what's so funny. Why are you laughing? Somebody say something?
No, I just
All right. So,
Lauren and Michelle say
hey guys. They're going to help me with the comments because we're on our computer, and everybody that knows me knows that even though I wear glasses,
She
I
said,
still need help.
I don't know if it's me or your end, but the voices are skipping.
Laura says hi.
Oh, the voices are skipping.
Yeah.
So, So, honey, since you're on here, let me know if it's if there's an issue, if you can hear it as well. Maybe we need to move the computer around a little bit. But if it gets worse, please let me know. But you guys want to go over and explain to everybody what you're going to teach. You guys have the giggles tonight. What's the matter?
I don't know. His laughing is making me laugh.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. So I wrote some notes as far as like what the agenda is going to be. So you guys want to tell them what your agenda is?
Yeah.
What are we going over today?
We're gonna go over memory, creativity, and like how we focus.
Yeah. Inspiration, creativity, focus, memory, and the oils that we use. Pop said he uses just fine.
Okay, awesome. Well, good. All right, cool. So do you guys want to go over what it's like to use the oils? You want to start pick that first oil and kind of run through why you use it, how you use it, and how it works.
Okay, so the first oil that we have here is rosemary. And so, rosemary. Can't really see it, but we use this. Rosemary is good for memory recall. So whenever we're studying, our mom will give us some rosemary so that it'll help us retain the information better. And when it comes to actually when it comes to actually taking the test, or going over the information, trying to pull it back, it helps us to really retain it better and recall everything.
How do you use that one?
I know that we've diffused it before. Can you put it in the palms?
You can, but with that one we mainly just diffuse them.
Diffuse, yeah, we mainly diffuse it.
One way, the very first time I ever actually used this oil on Isaiah was when he was first starting at a school. His martial arts teacher, she's also she was teaching 4th grade at the time, and so he knows her as Stephanie, right? So what were you having trouble with on the first day of school? Like, what was your concern going to school?
I was having trouble like remembering her last name because it's disrespectful to call them by their first name. So I was having trouble saying Miss Navarro. So I just took Rosemary and I think I applied it to my head. I think I applied it somewhere on my head or
No, I remember this really well. I'll tell you. And if you guys have rosemary, pull it out and just smell it. Take a good sniff because I'm going to read you a little study, not really read the entire study, but just kind of give you the idea as to how this works. Rosemary is the oil of remembrance, and it actually helps with long-term memory. So it helps with memory recall, like Nelson said. So when you sniff rosemary, it actually helps you to recall information later on. It actually boosts your memory by 60 to 70%. So memory recall is pretty huge. But so what I did was I just told him what her last name was. I said, okay. And it was kind of funny. It was fun. But I just basically gave him the bottle and put it right underneath his nose. And I said, breathe that in. As I tell you, her last name is Miss Navarro. So I said it a few times, let him breathe that in. And then right before he walked out the door, I said, hey, what's Miss Stephanie's name? And he had no problem after that. So I thought it was pretty cool. It was the first time we actually tested the rosemary out. He probably would have remembered that one anyway, right? At school, I don't know. But it's definitely something that we use in the house when they're studying. So I wanted to pull something up just to tell you. Robert Tisserand, if you're familiar with the doctor that wrote the book on essential oil safety, he posted a study, which this was actually written in 2013, but it basically says sniffing rosemary can increase memory by 75%. So they actually, if you pull up Robert Tisserand rosemary, you'll see that on Google, and you can kind of read through there and get all the details. But they did a study on school kids as well as adults, and the individuals. Okay, the individuals that did that were in the rosemary scented room or when they were diffusing did much better with memory recall and actually improved on exams. My kids have giggles. I don't know why, but anyway, so that was pretty interesting fact. So they did much better on their exams and recalled that information. I actually make a hair balm with the rosemary in it, so it's pretty nice. He actually has used it on his scalp. I do want to caution you though, rosemary is not, if you have trouble with epilepsy, seizures or anything like that, rosemary is one of those oils that you need to stay away from. It's not recommended, okay? So epilepsy, seizures, and if you have blood pressure problems, if you have high blood pressure, then rosemary is one of those oils that you don't really want to use because it can elevate the blood pressure in those individuals. So I just wanted to give you a couple of those safety tips. As we go through oils, if there's a safety tip that is relevant to something, I'm going to throw that out there just for your information. But just keep that in mind, which is a great idea to watch these educational videos so you can keep up with those tips. But it's also really good to just educate yourself a little bit, when you have some free time on the oils that you're using, just to kind of check for any kind of safety guidelines. Okay, so what's the next oil? So that's memory recall. So what would you use for focus?
Focus, we use our Intune. Me and Isaiah, we have the roller bottle right here, and we just rub some Intune on. And Intune, it really, really does work. We use this one probably most frequently when it comes to focus, because I don't really know how to describe it, but it really just helps you to stay on task and not get sidetracked. Like myself, I'm one where when I'm doing something, I often, I'll always just be thinking of many different things at once, and I'll let myself kind of wander off. But whenever I use my Intune, I really am able to stay on task and focus on whatever I'm working on.
So there was a time that you actually had an assignment, and you were reading something and you were struggling with reading it because you weren't really interested in that topic. So you were having a really hard time getting really into the book. So what did we do?
Yeah, it was an assigned book from my school, and it was a really really boring book. And so my mom gave me some Intune, and I mean it was still really boring, but the Intune really helped me to like focus and like stay on task, and I was actually able to read the pages like and retain what I was reading. Because usually when I read, I'll start thinking of other things because it's such a boring topic, and I'll forget the whole page that I just read. But after using the Intune, I was able to actually like get through the book and get some chapters done.
Nice. And the Intune is one of those that is I mean, I love the smell of Intune, but do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells really good.
I
Really
mean,
fresh.
I'm making them smell it again, but the thing is that here's the exciting thing about this. So where I put this oil on the boys is if they're home, I'll just put it right over their forehead and on the back of their neck. But if they're going to school first thing in the morning and maybe they have a test that day or they really need to focus really well, then I'll tell them to put this on their big toe. And the reason I do that is because the scent is kind of strong. And although we enjoy it, there may be somebody else that's in the class that may not really like it, or the scent might be distracting to them. So putting it on their big toe actually helps with just, you know, you don't have to smell the scent, but it's still getting into the bloodstream and it's still going to work and doing its thing. Is there a question or anything?
Yeah, Michelle was asking, she said, so boys, tell me what can I do for my son? And I guess it would be more specifically like what your son's trying to do. But when it comes to homework, like I said, like me and Isaiah, we use the Intune like we just talked about in the rosemary. So if he's having trouble like focusing when it comes to doing homework, I would say just give him some Intune while he's doing it. And then don't put him like somewhere to where it'll be easy for him to get distracted. But after giving him the Intune, it should be a lot easier for him to focus.
And Dad, on what he was saying, if he's like having trouble like memorizing stuff and he doesn't have a planner to write it in, just give him some rosemary.
So putting it at the base of the toe, I don't think I brought that in here, but basically that's part of reflexology. Your nerve endings, and then your hands and feet. So the portion for the brain is actually the big toe. So if you apply the oil to the big toe, then it's like, applying it to the cable that goes, it feeds right into the brain. So you're still getting the effects because it's still getting in the bloodstream and it's still getting to where it needs to go. So that's just a cool tip for those that really don't want to smell it and would rather just use it for the benefit. So let's see. What about something else that helps with focus, but maybe you need to kind of like a pep, like to wake you up a little bit? What would you use in that case? You're like, you're tired, or maybe you're about to go to school and you're just, it's the morning, right? Morning time, and you need to wake up a little bit. What would that oil be?
Well, there's actually two oils I would say for that. I would say that there's peppermint, which we have right here, and also wild orange. I think it's over here, wild orange. I would say that both of these oils would help to wake you up. But early in the morning for me, the main one that I would go to is peppermint, because that's typically when my allergies start. And again, peppermint helps out with that too. So peppermint is definitely good, give you a good boost of energy, as well as wild orange.
Yeah.
And both of them are great for focus. So
they both like really energize. Like they wake you up fully, not all drowning. So you're ready. You're ready for the school day.
Yeah.
For the day.
And even like when you get home and you're like,
Yeah.
to get ready to start studying or anything, just kind of
wild orange.
Yeah, especially after school, coming home from school, because after the school day, and then for me, like after practice, after having my wrestling practice, like I'm just so drained and tired and ready to sleep. But then the oils really help me to stay focused and stay awake to make sure I get all my priorities taken care of.
Nice. All right, so can you hand me those two oils right there? So this is actually something that I don't really explain to them, and it's about the vetiver. The vetiver is actually an oil that's in a couple of different blends, but specifically in the Peace blend. And the reason why this one is so important is because if you have, let's say your child is just really, really, really full of energy, like tons of energy, you know, bouncing all over the place, just isn't in that state to where they're calm enough to really just settle into the studying or the focus or anything like that. Vetiver is a very, very grounding oil, and it's actually a root oil. And there's studies out on that as well. So for kids who are just really, you know, go, 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 nonstop, and just need to settle down a little bit, then this one kind of just helps to anchor them. You know, it anchors them into their body, it anchors them into that chair, it just helps them, and it's just so, you know, supportive in that so much, they feel so much relief because they're like, it's like taking that breath, and then now they can focus on their doing. So Peace has that in there, and this is actually one that I put on this one right here. So Mr. Giggles. So when we need to settle him down just a little bit, this one's really helpful. I also have my oldest, you know, son who's extremely energetic and has always been since he was really little. And he has had amazing results. He's an adult now, but he, you know, puts this, and those of you who know my son know that how energized he is. But this just completely calms him to where now his mind's not racing everywhere. He can just zoom in to being able to just think about one thing at a time rather than 20 things at a time. So this one's actually really good for that. So those oils, if you Google vetiver essential oil studies, you're going to be very, very shocked at what you find with that. All right, so and then there's another oil for, you know, like inspiration and creativity, and this one's passion. Now I haven't really used this for you guys much, or probably ever, probably. You guys are.
I think I do remember using it before, actually, when I was doing a project. For sure, I was doing a project, and I needed like a topic idea, and it was just really hard for me to think of something. Like, I don't know, I just felt I just really couldn't come up with an idea. But then I'm pretty sure it was the passion that we used, and it like helped me to be, I guess, more creative in a way, and I was able to come up with a topic idea.
That's your inspiring blend. So if they need creativity or inspiration or just passion about what they're doing, you know, that kind of helps with supporting that. Let's see here. What do we have? We did rosemary. I feel like we're missing something. Can you hand me those two? So, oh yes, motivate. Do you remember the story on this one? I don't.
Do I remember the story on this one? I'm not sure.
So when Stephanie sees this one, I don't know if she's on here or not, but remember when you came home from school? Now, aside from their, you know, studying and their focus, right, you have your extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
So with martial arts, you came home from school and you were just so drained.
Yeah.
And you needed that extra, right, to get you. So could you remember? I
do remember the story. Yeah, I remember coming home from the school day, and like I don't know why, but I was just so drained from school. All my classes, I was done. I got home, and I sat down. I did not want to get back up. I did not want to go to training, go to practice. I was just so tired. My mom was like, "Come on, get up. You gotta go. You gotta go." So she gave me some Motivate, and after taking the Motivate, it's one of those that'll like the peppermint and the wild orange. It'll really wake you up and give you like a boost of energy and like really make you want to go do something. And so after using that, I was ready to go.
Yeah, it really like resets you and like literally just it motivates you to go do something. You know what I mean? It gives you the energy and you're ready.
So, in other words, if they need motivation to go do their homework or clean their room or throw out the trash, right?
Yeah.
Probably not so much. I mean, I have other ways of motivating them. But this, yeah, when he came home from practice, he says, "Mom, what was that oil again that you put on me before I went to practice?" And I said, "Motivate." He's like, "Oh, wow." He said, "I had one of the best workouts ever today. I had so much energy. It was awesome." So that was nice to hear. I mean, it really, so he went from completely tired to pumped and ready to go and had an amazing workout. So there you go. All right. So that's pretty much what they use, and I added in probably two there that they probably don't use so much, just to give another option. What are we missing? Oh, lemon. Yeah, like you covered in your last video, because you used lemon for
allergies and to dry out my nose if like we have a runny nose.
Yeah.
Lemon will dry it up really easy.
But it's also another amazing oil for focus. So this is something that you can throw in the diffuser, and it helps. I know that in nursing homes, they will diffuse frankincense a little while, and then they'll switch it off with lemon. So they kind of alternate in some of the nursing homes that they're using essential oils with their elderly to help with supporting the brain. So aside from, of course, focus and studying, that these oils are going to be helping with tons of other things and adding those additional benefits. I call them amazing side effects, right? So when you hear side effects, you hear all the scary stuff, but when we're talking essential oils, it's all great. It's like, oh, what is it going to help with other than this, because they're so versatile. But that's pretty much what they use. What's your favorite way to use your oils for studying? Would you rather do it topically, or would you rather put it in your diffuser?
Personally, I would probably have to say the diffuser, because it just lets off such like a good smell, and it's always nice to be in a place that smells good. So, and it also helps with all of its benefits. So, I think the diffuser is probably my favorite way to do it.
Yeah, I would say so too, because in a diffuser you can add, like multiple oils, and it's just way easier.
So aside from the essential oils, can you give them one more tip that would help with studying and focus that is not essential oil related?
I'm gonna have to say, like, getting in an environment that is, not noisy, and somewhere that just gives you space to think, you know what I mean? So like a little corner, do something somewhere to yourself.
Yeah. On a side note, Pop said that lemon is also great as a cleaning tool. So, and that is very true. We actually used that today while we were cleaning up the house. So,
yeah. I think I smell a man's class with your dad. So, yeah, we'll talk about that, honey.
Yeah, but for studying outside of essential oils, I would have to say having an end goal in mind. Like for me, there's certain classes that I take that I don't necessarily enjoy as much as others. But when it comes to studying for those classes, like Isaiah said, being in a good environment and knowing the reason that you're doing it. So having an end goal in mind is always good.
And there's one tip that Nelson uses, because he is my child that does get really easily distracted. And a lot of times I hear a lot of, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
And so, which is why we've, started adding in the oils to help with supporting, them more, because there's a need for it. But one thing that he's discovered is that when he puts in earphones and plays music, he's able to tune everything else out that's happening in the house around him, so that he can focus in on what he has right in front of him. So other times I don't like that. I don't like to be tuned out. I want him to hear when I'm talking to him, or, to be aware of what's going on. But when he's studying, it really does help quite a bit to put those earphones in. And I would ask him, when we first started doing it, how can you possibly focus and possibly study with music in your ears? And it really does drown everything else out. It's like just a little bit of static, that background noise, a little bit, just to kind of, just.
Was that studying?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure why it helps, but I know that listening to music definitely does help me to focus, because, like she said, nothing around me is able to distract me when I have the music in. And even with the music in, I don't let that distract me either. I'm just able to focus. And when it comes to memory recall, some like side knowledge, I guess you would say, that I know about memory recall is when you have familiar scents or sounds or tastes, you're able to recall the information better. So let's say I'm listening to music while I'm studying, and then if I'm taking that test and my teacher does allow me to listen to music while taking the test, which my teachers do, and those same songs come on, hearing those songs will help me to recall the information that I went over while listening to those songs. And my teachers actually let me listen to my music while testing.
And that's amazing because that's goes hand in hand with scent. So, right, scent, taste, and your hearing.
Yeah.
You literally can recall things. So when you're, chewing gum even, studying something, and then you chew gum to take a test. So those are just additional things to help with studying and focus along with the supporting oils. So we want to open this. Is there anything else you want to add, or do you want to do like a little Q&A and see if anybody has any questions for you guys?
Yeah, we're open to that.
So if you guys have any questions about maybe another topic or anything like that, they are super excited about sharing with everybody. I think I've created oil monsters, and and they're loving this Facebook Live. So they're going to start making this probably a weekly thing with different topics. So, next week will probably be essential oils for athletes. We'll talk about it. They have a few other suggestions, but do you guys have any questions specifically for them as to what they like or, how else they use their oils? Please ask, and they'll be happy to answer. Are there any questions that popped up there?
Let me see. Michelle asked the one earlier about her son. Did we answer that one?
Yeah.
Did it let us scroll back up to the top?
A couple of other things that we forgot to mention, by the way, for brain support. They also do use other things for brain support. For instance, what's another thing that you use?
I use IQ Mega as another thing for brain support. I'm pretty sure it's a liquid, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a liquid supplement. You're thinking of the E Omega too, because he takes both. But IQ Mega is great brain support, and he just takes a teaspoon of that. There's a little bit of wild orange essential oil in there, but basically it's an oil that you actually ingest, and it helps with boosting his immune system. It's antioxidant, it's very cleansing, but basically the point is to support the brain. A lot of these things, like the Intune, has frankincense in it. The Intune also has sandalwood, which helps to oxygenate the cells. So oxygenating the cells, breaking the blood-brain barrier. Lots and lots of brain support in the oils that they're using for studying. So, and antioxidant, and so on. Lots of other things, but that's pretty much it. So,
a question says, "What's a good oil for relaxing and good sleep?"
Lavender. That really helps me actually calm down. Like, instead of peace, I can just switch to lavender. I diffuse it, and really helps.
Diffusing the lavender in your room, like we all have diffusers in our room, and so before we go to bed or before we wake up, depending on what we're doing, influences the oils that we use. But when it comes to sleeping and relaxation and things like that, lavender is what we diffuse right before bedtime.
And how many diffusers do we have in our house?
Oh man, I can't even keep counting.
Yeah, I don't know.
We might have. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Almost 10.
But why?
Because we always diffuse.
Because we're diffusing everything everywhere.
We have a diffuser in every single room.
Yeah.
And yesterday I walked out, and my husband had actually had 2 of the diffusers running. And I said, well, he even had the one in your room.
Yeah, the one in my room.
And I said, oh, I walked into their room. They were cleaning the room. And I said, oh, wow, which one is that? Because I walked from one room to the other with a different scent. So I was trying to, and so he had.
I had birch in my room.
And were you diffusing yesterday?
I think I had the one in the front door.
No, but at the entryway and in the living room, we had 2 diffusers going. And my husband had, I said, honey, what is that one? He had frankincense and myrrh in both of those, and wow, it was amazing. But the thing is that my frankincense, I normally put it on topically, that I actually forgot what it smelled like in a diffuser. So putting it in the diffuser with myrrh, I was like just in heaven. Like, oh, it was divine. It was just, so it's very calming. It's very nurturing. It's just very, nice. It's like it puts everybody in such a nice mood, and the energy is great. So, my husband's even diffusing all around the house, and I find that very exciting. So that's pretty neat. Any other questions?
Pop says the house is
Oh,
smelling
yeah.
weird, but
Yeah,
no
thank you,
more
honey. You made it smell good. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. This was it, and stay tuned for more episodes of the doTERRA Boys. We have to find them a name. And we'll let us know if you guys have any specific topics. Let us know. Invite your kids to watch these. Ask the kids what they want to learn about, or just basically just type in what your kids' needs are. And if you're using oils for your kids, please share which ones you're using and how you're using them, because everybody's needs are different and everybody's tastes and likes are different too. So we love to hear how everybody else is utilizing it for more ideas, for excitement, to share in your joy and your wins. We like to share and build community, so that would be really great. All right, so you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.